Peace and love, sugar butt. It is your favorite R&B fairy, the fairest of them all, Aqueen, and welcome to my channel if this is your first time, and if it's not your first time, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about week 6 of the Artist Way journey and all of the things that I have been feeling and experiencing up until week 6 today and the last couple of days, and how our creative blocks can be so prominent and so subtle all at the same time. But one being very obvious, money. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about money. And also, with money in mind, we're going to talk about grace and enjoying your creative, artistic luxury and the things that accompany that. And at the very end, we're going to talk about how I may or may not have said yes to me having a piece of creative luxury for myself, something that I have been thinking about for a couple months now, maybe. And yeah, it may or may not be in this box. So, week 6 is all about recovering a sense of abundance. We have past week 5, which was recovering a sense of possibility. And since I've talked to y'all about week 4, since we have discovered my frustration and turning it into fuel and unmasking all of the emotions that are under that, like feeling like I am stuck in a place that wants me to grow but also doesn't want me to grow outside of its own confinement because they want to keep the greatness needs to be kept contained. Yeah, that's a lot to feel and live with. However, I'm at a point where I have to acknowledge that and work with that, or shall I say, not even work with it, but work to change that, because I'm working against that. That is something that I am making known so that I can exercise that shit. I am not progressing if I hold on to that type of block. Today, I am thinking about how over the past several years, one of the main blocks to my creative freedom and artistic expression has been feeling like money is something that I am privileged to have, because for most people, money is a privilege. Money is something that you have, or that person has, because they were afforded it. Not even to say like value wise, but they were afforded it by somebody else, or because something else thought that they were worthy of having that. Versus other people, i.e. myself or how I grew up, may feel like money is something that once you get it, you have to cherish it. You have to think wisely about it and be mindful of like emergencies. Be mindful of the ifs, the ands, the buts, and the just in cases, so I call it. And up until a couple of days ago, I still carried this notion of like, if I get a lump sum of money, I have to set this much aside. I have to make sure that I don't just do for myself. I have to make sure that I have this just in case something else happens. Or I wouldn't even say that I sit my money aside, or I'm stingy to myself in the instance of just paying bills. But I'm the type of person where, or I have been the type of person where I will know some money is coming to me, a nice little sum, and even though I'm not spending it on myself, on things that I desire for myself, even though I've potentially worked hard for that and I deserve to give myself some type of allowance, some type of simple pleasure, when other people ask for that grace, I have no problem extending it. And it could be my last dollar. It could be my last anything. So I am trying to give myself same grace to allow myself to say yes to myself. Like, for example, I run a couple other small creative businesses. I'm an entrepreneur through and through. When I say it does not make sense for me to work a 9 to 5 for anybody else, it does not make sense for me to work a 9 to 5 for anybody else. I'm not doing that shit. I can't do it right now. It don't make sense. But I do have a couple small businesses that I run for myself. And one of them is tooth gems, you know, making people's smiles a little brighter, a little shinier, a little razzle dazzle for the, but yes, I have a policy, okay? Clear as day on my site. Before you book your appointment, you have to confirm and agree to it. I have had instances where people will book my services, and this is before I included my website to automatically take a deposit before you could confirm your appointment with me. I had it set up to where you would schedule it and I would send you an intake, and in that intake it would say also send your deposit to this or that. In most cases people would send it and they would get my address to get their service done. So before I set up the system to where they pay the deposit online, I would have people no call, no show. And sometimes that was when I waived a deposit, or I would even have a deposit, or they just would not, you know, call me and say that they're canceling or even pick up afterwards. So I send that text message after they don't show up, say, hey, cancellation fee. And I don't hear nothing from them. So I changed my site's terms and paid a little bit more for extra services so that I could adjust that setting. And a recent incident was somebody booked a session for this past Monday, right? This past Monday. And my booking site had kind of defaulted back to that system for some reason where it didn't take the deposits. I don't know. Maybe I didn't pay the subscription on time or whatever, but their appointment got confirmed. So I send my intake, and it just so happens that that client or prospective client didn't reply to me that same day. They didn't reply back until that Monday morning, which was the day of their session. And I didn't have a deposit from them. So we're talking, and I'm getting my hair done at the time. My initial text message for intake says, thank you for booking your session for XYZ. There's a $15 deposit required to confirm your slot and fill out these questions, yes or no questions. It's only 4 of them. The client replies back and says, I have cash, can I keep this appointment? Me being me, always giving the fucking benefit of the doubt, giving grace, even to strangers. I was like, well, I prefer to have this to essentially keep my business safe and to uphold my policy. But for today, I'll keep your session and go ahead and confirm you. Just know that if you no call, no show, you may be blocked from booking in the future. Thanks for your understanding. And they were like, thank you so much for agreeing to that. I appreciate it. I'll be there. So long story short, we barely filled out intake questions. They go to 2 hours before the session to where they're like, okay, well, I'm just gonna cancel, because they asked how long do they stay on. I told them it's based off of habit and hygiene. It was like, well, I'm just gonna cancel because I eat too many blue crabs. I eat crab legs all the time. I'm like, okay, well, if you think you're gonna be too rough on them, that's fine. I understand it might not be for you. So I'll go ahead and cancel your session. Now there is 50% cancellation fee. And I didn't even tell her this, but I didn't even take your deposit. I kept your appointment just with good intentions, good, you know, a good customer service representative. I don't know. I'm just trying to give good customer service. I don't know. People do work in cash. But after I sent that text message, ghost. Nothing. Just like I fucking thought. So not only did you waste hours of my time bantering back and forth with these text messages, you took time off of my client schedule that could have been allotted for other people. I didn't get a deposit from you because I gave you grace. I extended you a fucking favor. And then you canceled on me 2 hours before. And on top of that, you ghosted because your integrity is not there. So yeah, I can't only be mad at myself. I can only be disappointed in myself. I'm gonna be upset with the customer or potential customer for sure. That's how I was feeling. I was definitely feeling some type of way because why do people do that? Why do people do that? You hit up a small business, home-based Black woman-owned business for a service where I'm literally gonna be in your fucking mouth, in your mouth, making that shit sparkle in your mouth. I don't know what you do with your mouth. all day, every day, but I want to be in there adding lead-free Swarovski crystals. But the audacity of people to request this service so intimate and then don't even have the respect enough to abide by your policy and uphold their own integrity, that's just so weird. And on the client side, I understand, like, well, I didn't get the service, so I'm not paying them nothing. And I might have that attitude as well if the roles were reversed, but also I know what I signed up for. But the fact that I am just such a kind fucking person, even to my own detriment, that shit happened to me, and I can only be disappointed in myself, because I could have easily said no. I'll give you an hour to arrange a form of electronic payment for your deposit just to cover my own ass. If they would have found a way to send me the electronic deposit, at the very least I would have got $15. At the very least, for the time that I set aside for them. And if not, I wouldn't have wasted the next several hours trying to rush through my hair appointment to service them, for them to turn around and cancel on me 2 hours beforehand. I wrote in my morning pages about that incident and an incident that happened shortly before that, like not too long ago. And I am done extending my grace to people who either just plain flat out don't deserve it or have not earned that shit. In my small businesses and my artistic journey, I'm not doing that no more. I am instead gonna turn that and give that grace to myself, because I fucking deserve that shit. I deserve all the grace to myself that I extend to other people. And I am not gonna feel like I'm being stingy or I'm being selfish, because I've been selfish to myself for way too fucking long. Way too long. And that is why I am in the predicament that I am now. That's why I'm upset about this. That's why I'm rambling about that. But money is definitely one of those things that makes people like me and other artists feel like they are at a block. Myself being also a small business owner, and when people play in my face, or I allow them to play in my face, I feel like they also play with my artist journey, because every dollar that I get from these small businesses goes into my artist journey. And that really fucking sucks when people do that. And in turn, it just makes me feel like I did myself dirty. And I don't feel like that no more. I'm not doing that no more. So creative luxury, indulging in luxury, saying yes to myself, and giving myself grace. I have to give myself more grace. Over the last couple weeks, the Artist Way has been asking me to list things that I would love to own for myself, or adventures I would like to take myself on. Like, one specifically was list 10 things that you would like to own that you don't already. And with money being in the forefront and investing in myself, I started to think of and remind myself that money is a tool. Money is not something that I have to have and be so, I hate to say it, but stingy with. Not even stingy. Money is an object that can afford you other opportunities, open other doors, get you other tools. Money is an avenue, it's a gateway. It is not a make or break. It is not a category of things. It's not. I can't look at it that way. For so long, I felt like money is something that I have to have, I have to earn it, I have to have it, and I have to be strategic. Yes, I have to be strategic with it, but strategic in a sense that gives me space, not causes me fear. Money has for a long time caused me fear and stress, like it has done my family, and that has trickled down onto me in many different forms. I talk about it in my morning pages. I won't throw that on you. If you want me to divulge into a little bit of my childhood artist creative trauma when it comes to money, let me know in the comments, but let me know specifically so that I know, and we'll talk about that in another video. But I am using money as a tool. I have it, I am earning it, and I'm putting it right back into myself. If I know I'm going to use this thing that I am buying, or that it can project me a little bit further, I'm going to invest that piece into myself, just like I invest into other people. I'm going to give myself that. I'm going to allot myself that creative luxury. And it's crazy because luxury can be so subtle, so simple and cheap, and it can be extravagant. Sometimes luxury for me is literally just soaking, being in the sun, and having something refreshing to sip on. And other times luxury might be what's in this box. I decided to get myself one of those 10 things, and I recently talked about it, and I did it. I said yes to myself because I deserve that. My artistic value is way more than what's in this box. Way, way, way more. So if I can say yes to other people, loaning them hundreds of dollars or whatever to do whatever, and expect before I click send that I won't get that back, because a loan is usually not a loan. If you can't afford to send it out, you can't afford to get it back, don't loan it to nobody, because the odds of you getting it back is very rare, depending on the type of company you keep, or depending on the type of family you have, or people that just ask you for money. Who knows? But I said yes to myself, to one of those things that I knew for a fact was going to help me do what I want to do and bring my visions to life. So let's go ahead and open this box. You know it's real when one of these things are on the box. Let's go ahead and open it up and see what's what. When I tell you I am so excited about this box, I waited by my shop app updates. I waited by them to tell me when it was out for delivery. I waited for it to tell me when the carrier had picked up my package, because there was no way I was missing signing that signature. And thank you, great creator. Thank you, universe. It made it here safe and sound. I think, because this box looks a little suspect. It looks a little suspect. But yeah, let's go ahead and open. I have literally been waiting for a day and a half to open this box, and I could not wait any longer. I could not. Okay, here we go. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 Creator Combo. It is finally here. I am so excited about this box. I'm so excited. I can't even lie. I can't lie. I am really excited about this box. So go ahead and open up. Of course, silica gel. Keep that bit dry. Manuals. I'll go through this in a minute. I just want to be able to quickly show y'all what's inside this box and see for myself. This looks like the case. Yeah, this is the protective cover. And it does feel quite protective. Oh, nice. And we have a slot for the wide angle lens to fit into. I like that. And a black pearl nest as well. Now, I see that this is the entire case that's holding everything, which looks to be super convenient. This feels so compact. This is like smaller than your average makeup bag. And there is a camera in here. My makeup bag, my daily makeup bag is bigger than this. Given I don't use everything inside of it, but those are my just in case products. This case is that much smaller. It's crazy. This is my hand. That's my hand. It's about as long as my hand. That's wild. I'm not mad at that one bit. And the leather is leathering. I think it's leather, but it feels high quality. This is what she looks like inside. That's cool. So right out the gate in the front pocket is the DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera. This bad boy right here is truly one of the smallest cameras I have ever held in my life. Aside from them little tiny little phones, them little tiny little flip phones from way back in the day, I might be telling my age, but them little tiny little phones, they had a little camera on there. That's probably the smallest, only other small camera of this size that I've ever held in my hand. This right here, that's cute. It's so dainty. I could definitely see myself, you know, just having this out and about and filming and catching all the good vlog content and all the good artist stuff, artsy fartsy things. That's really cute. I really like that. I really like that. I have been doing my homework and a little bit of research on some of YouTube's biggest creators' favorite settings and hacks and tricks for their DJI Osmo Pocket 3 camera. And we will talk about that in our next video, probably, maybe, or you'll see it. And I'll tell you a little bit about how I am feeling so far about the camera. I'll put that back in there. I really like that. We have, this looks like the extended battery. Nice. I heard that is like essential, and I believe it. With the type of content I plan on, making, I'm definitely gonna keep that in the bag. The tripod, mini tripod, very convenient. Can't go wrong with a tripod. We have the main battery pack, it looks like. See how small that is? That's crazy how tiny that is. And that goes, they all have like their own little compartments. That goes in this compartment here. The tripod stand goes here. And then beside it, we have our DJI Mic 2 with the clip on the back. We have our charging cable. We also have the wide angle lens. Also extremely tiny, very tiny. And there's this tiny, small little compartment behind the mic compartment here that your wide angle lens can fit into. That's convenient. You don't want that to get lost. And then lastly, it looks like we have the windscreen, aka the fuzzy little ball that we mainly see with people's DJI Mic 2s or Mic 1 or even sometimes a Mic Mini. Pops right on and off. And the wrist strap. I like that this is so small, so convenient. I cannot wait to test this out. Everything literally just goes inside of this bag, and I feel like with the case on, the case will just slip right inside of the bag as well. I will try that soon, but I am extremely excited to use this Osmo Pocket 3 creator combo and see what type of like funky artsy fartsy stuff that we can make. And if that helps us project any further. So after I decide on my final settings or first set of final settings for my Osmo Pocket 3, I will be back and hopefully have an update on what it is that I find the most intriguing about this camera. And then we'll also talk about our artist date coming up and week 7. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and tell me what you're looking forward to or what type of content you'd like to see me create with this little pocket-sized camera. Hit this video right here. YouTube thinks you might like it. And also hit the subscribe button. Probably down here, probably down there. Be sure to share this with a friend or a stranger. Who knows? Share with anybody. I don't care. Because the vibes are for everybody. We're not gatekeeping the vibes. Till next time, I love you. Love you lots. Peace and love.